Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into the world of managed file transfer.
MFT.
MFT, exactly. We've got a whole stack of articles and research
Yeah.
to help us understand how automation is really like changing the game.
Revolutionizing.
Yeah, revolutionizing how businesses move all their data around.
Absolutely.
So if you've ever like wondered how companies are like securely moving these massive data files around,
Right.
you're in for a treat.
You know, it's interesting because MFT is like the foundation of so much of our digital world.
Yeah.
I mean, from downloading software updates to, sending large attachments. It's kind of like this invisible force making sure that all this data gets where it needs to go.
Right.
Safely and reliably.
Yeah, it's one of those things you don't really think about until it goes wrong.
Right.
And then it's a big problem.
Yeah. And when it does, it can be a huge headache.
Totally.
For businesses, especially.
Especially for businesses.
And, our sources are painting a pretty grim picture of what it's like to deal with manual MFT processes.
Yeah, especially like as companies grow.
All right.
And as data volumes just explode.
Absolutely. And one article I was reading cites a statistic that human error accounts for almost 90%
Wow.
of all data breaches.
Wow.
So when you think about it, relying on manual processes for something as critical as, file transfer,
Right.
you're kind of playing with fire.
Yeah.
Like a single misplaced decimal point or an incorrect file path can have just catastrophic consequences.
Huge consequences.
Huge.
It's like trying to manage air traffic control with like sticky notes and a megaphone.
Right, exactly.
Not really a recipe for success.
Not at all.
And we're talking about, it's not just like losing some time.
Right.
We're talking about potential financial losses.
Yeah, compliance violation.
Reputational damage.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, one of our sources, a case study on a major financial institution, details how a manual data entry error resulted in a multi-million-dollar loss. Oh, my goodness.
These aren't just like isolated incidents.
Right.
The risks associated with manual MFT are very real.
Yeah.
And they can impact businesses of all sizes.
Absolutely.
Across all industries.
So what's the solution? How can businesses escape this manual MFT nightmare?
Yeah.
Our sources point to automation as kind of the knight in shining armor here.
Yes.
And they specifically highlight 3 key advancements that are really transforming the game.
I'm listening.
Workflow automation tools.
Yes.
Script-free onboarding.
Okay.
And drag-and-drop data mapping.
Okay.
So,
and those sound like they're really changing the way businesses approach MFT.
Totally.
Making it more efficient, secure, and just easier to use.
And easier to use, yeah.
And the best part is you don't need a degree in computer science to understand or implement these.
I love to hear that.
Right.
So let's start with workflow automation tools.
Okay.
These sound like the ultimate time savers.
Taking over all those tedious and repetitive tasks that bog down IT teams.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, think of them as your personal MFT assistants.
Oh.
So instead of manually scheduling file transfers, checking for errors, generating reports, you can set up these automated workflows to handle all of that in the background.
So while those files are zipping back and forth, your IT team can be focusing on more strategic initiatives.
Exactly.
But how do these tools actually work?
Yeah.
Is it like setting up a series of dominoes where one action triggers the next?
That's a good analogy.
Okay.
You can define specific triggers and actions. So when a certain event occurs, like let's say a file is uploaded to a specific folder, the workflow kicks in automatically and then executes a predefined sequence of steps.
So it's all about creating this seamless automated process that just runs like a well-oiled machine.
Yes, exactly.
Our sources highlight some pretty impressive benefits of using these workflow automation tools. Starting with a significant reduction in errors.
Oh, absolutely. And one study I was looking at found that companies that implemented workflow automation for their MFT processes saw something like a 75% reduction.
Wow.
In errors.
That's huge.
And that's because automation removes the possibility of human error.
Right.
The workflows follow a predefined set of rules.
Yeah.
And that ensures that each step is executed flawlessly.
Okay.
Every time.
So it's like having a built-in quality control system.
Right.
Which is crucial when you're dealing with sensitive data.
Absolutely.
But accuracy is only part of the equation. Right?
Yeah.
Consistency and reliability are equally important in the world of MFT, especially when we're talking about service-level agreements.
Right. SLAs.
SLAs, exactly.
Those are contracts, essentially, that define the level of service a provider will deliver, and they often include specific metrics related to things like uptime response times, data transfer speeds.
Makes sense.
With manual processes meeting those SLAs can be a real challenge.
I bet.
But automation makes it much easier to ensure that consistent and reliable performance, which is crucial for building trust with your partners.
Yeah.
And, maintaining a good reputation.
Absolutely. And it's not just about meeting existing demands, right?
Right.
As businesses grow and evolve, their MFT needs change.
Yeah, they do.
So that's where scalability comes in. And our sources suggest that these workflow automation tools are really well equipped to handle the increasing complexity of data transfers.
Absolutely. They're designed to grow alongside your business. So as your data volumes increase, you can just add more resources. Adjust the workflows to accommodate those changing demands.
So you don't have to constantly reinvest in new infrastructure or hire more staff to keep up with the growth.
Exactly.
It's like having an MFT system that can expand and adapt as your business does without missing a beat.
Yeah.
But let's get down to like brass tacks here.
Okay.
We've talked about the benefits kind of in general terms.
Yeah.
But how are businesses actually using these workflow automation tools in the real world?
Yeah, so a really interesting example comes from the healthcare industry. A large hospital network was having trouble managing the secure transfer of patient records between, various departments, external partners.
Yeah, that sounds complicated.
And they were relying on manual processes, which were slow, error-prone, and posed a significant risk to patient privacy.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It was.
So how did workflow automation come to the rescue?
So they implemented a workflow automation solution that streamlined the entire process. So now when a physician needs to share a patient record, they simply upload the file to a secure folder, and the system automatically takes care of the rest.
Wow.
The file is encrypted. It's transferred through a secure channel, delivered to the authorized recipient with a full audit trail for tracking and compliance purposes.
So it's like it takes care of all the security and compliance stuff automatically.
Yes, exactly.
That's impressive.
It is.
And I bet it freed up a ton of time for the IT staff to focus on other important tasks.
Oh, absolutely.
What about industries outside of healthcare?
Yeah.
Are there other examples of how businesses are using workflow automation for their MFT needs?
Definitely. Another great example comes from the retail industry. A major online retailer was facing challenges with managing their supply chain data. So they needed a way to seamlessly and securely share inventory updates, order detailed shipping information with their suppliers and distributors.
I can imagine that coordinating all of that manually would be a logistical nightmare.
It was a nightmare.
So how did workflow automation help streamline their operations?
So they implemented a workflow automation tool that allowed them to set up automated data transfers based on specific triggers and conditions. So for example, when a new order is placed, the system automatically sends the order details to the right supplier, updates the inventory levels in their system, generates a shipping label.
So it's like this invisible hand orchestrating this whole supply chain behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground on these workflow automation tools.
We have.
And I'm really eager to kind of explore some of these other game-changing advancements.
Me too.
In automated MFT.
Yeah, let's talk about script-free onboarding.
Yes.
Which is all about simplifying the process of connecting new partners or systems to your MFT network.
Sounds like a topic for part 2 of our deep dive.
Absolutely.
Don't go anywhere, listeners. We'll be right back after a short break.
So before the break, we were talking about workflow automation.
Yeah, workflow automation tools.
Now let's shift gears and talk about script-free onboarding.
Okay, so from what I've read in our research, it seems like script-free onboarding is all about making it easier to bring new partners into your MFT network without needing a whole team of IT experts.
Yes.
to, like, write lines of code.
Exactly, because in the past, setting up a new connection for data transfer was a really complex and time-consuming process.
Yeah.
Often involved, custom scripting, which required, specialized expertise. It could take weeks or even months to complete.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can imagine trying to decipher lines of code.
Yeah.
Just to set up a simple file transfer would be a nightmare.
Yeah, it was not fun.
So our sources are saying that script-free onboarding kind of eliminates this complexity.
It does.
By using visual interfaces and pre-built connectors to simplify the process.
Yeah, it's a game changer, especially in today's, fast-paced business environment where agility is key.
Totally.
I mean, imagine you're trying to onboard a new supplier or partner really quickly to respond to some kind of sudden shift in the market. With traditional scripting, that process could take weeks.
Wow.
And that could really delay your ability to seize that opportunity.
Yeah.
But with script-free onboarding, you can establish those connections in a matter of hours, if not minutes.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So that speed and that flexibility can be a huge competitive advantage.
Definitely.
So how does it work?
Yeah, so basically, instead of writing custom scripts, you use a visual interface. Often with drag and drop functionality.
Oh, cool.
To define those connection parameters. It's almost like connecting building blocks.
Right.
You select the systems that you want to connect. You choose the appropriate connector, and then you configure the data flow. The underlying technology might involve APIs or pre-built integrations, but the user experience is incredibly simple and intuitive.
So it's like having this prepackaged MFT solution that you can kind of tailor to your specific needs without needing to be a coding expert.
Right, you don't have to be a programmer.
Yeah. Our sources are raving about the benefits of this approach.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest ones is a dramatic reduction in setup time.
Oh, huge.
One case study mentioned a company that reduced their onboarding time.
Wow.
From several weeks to just a few hours.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's not uncommon at all.
Really?
Yeah. And the impact, goes beyond just saving time.
Okay.
Think about the resources that you free up by eliminating the need for custom scripting.
Yeah.
Your IT team can focus on more strategic tasks, like improving security or developing new features, instead of, getting bogged down in those routine onboarding tasks.
It's like giving them a superpower boost by eliminating those mundane tasks.
Exactly.
But what about control and customization?
That's a good question.
Some people might say that a more visual, less code-heavy approach might sacrifice flexibility.
I mean, that's a fair point, but while it's true that script-free onboarding might not be suitable for absolutely every single scenario, especially those that involve like very unique legacy systems or really complex data transformations. But the modern tools offer a surprising amount of flexibility. You can define custom data mappings, set up, conditional workflows, and even integrate with third-party applications, all without writing a single line of code.
So it's not about sacrificing control.
Right.
It's about shifting it to a more user-friendly interface.
Exactly.
And our sources emphasize that this ease of use also leads to like wider adoption within an organization.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's not just the IT team that can use this.
Right. When you remove those technical barriers, you're empowering more people within the company to manage their own MFT connections.
Right.
This can be really beneficial for departments like marketing or sales that, may not have dedicated IT resources, but they still need to transfer files securely with external partners.
That makes sense.
So it's like giving everyone the keys to the MFT kingdom without requiring them to learn a whole new language.
I like that analogy.
Right.
But what about security?
That's a great question.
Isn't there some inherent risk
in
making something this powerful so easy to use?
Well, security is always a top concern.
Right.
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
But these script-free onboarding tools don't skimp on security. They often come with built-in security features like encryption protocols, role-based access controls, and compliance certifications to ensure that all the data transfers meet the highest standards.
So it's like having a security guard built right into the system and constantly monitoring and protecting those data flows.
Yeah, they've got you covered.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So are there any real-world examples of how script-free onboarding is being used to solve these business challenges?
Absolutely. There are tons of examples. One that comes to mind is a global logistics company.
Okay.
It was having a really hard time keeping up with the demand for onboarding new clients and partners.
Okay.
They were relying on manual processes and custom scripting, which was creating bottlenecks and delaying their ability to scale.
Yeah, I could see that would be a huge problem.
It was.
Especially in an industry where speed and efficiency are so important.
Absolutely crucial.
So how did they overcome this challenge?
They implemented a script-free onboarding solution that allowed them to automate that whole process.
Okay.
So now when a new client signs up, the system automatically provisions a secure connection, configures the necessary data mappings, sets up the appropriate security protocols, all without any manual intervention.
So it's like having an onboarding concierge that takes care of all the heavy lifting.
Right.
So what about the impact on the IT team?
Yeah.
Did they feel like their jobs were being replaced by robots?
Actually, quite the opposite.
Really?
They were relieved to be freed from the, kind of mundane tasks of manual onboarding and scripting.
Right.
They could now focus on more strategic initiatives. Like cybersecurity and data analytics, which added a lot more value to the business.
So it's a perfect example of how automation can empower rather than replace human workers.
Absolutely.
It's about shifting the focus from these rote tasks to more strategic thinking and problem solving.
Exactly.
But before we get too lost in the wonders of script-free onboarding, we have one more game-changing advancement.
Yes, we do.
To explore drag-and-drop data mapping.
Yes. The art of making data talk to each other.
I love it.
This is where things get really visual and intuitive, even for those who, aren't necessarily tech savvy.
I'm intrigued. It sounds like drag-and-drop data mapping.
Yeah.
Takes the complexity out of translating data between different systems.
It does.
All right, well, let's dive into that. So drag and drop data mapping, huh?
Think of it as the universal translator for your data. It bridges the gap between systems that speak different data languages.
Okay, so like ensuring this smooth and accurate exchange of information.
That's exact.
So our sources are saying it sounds like this drag and drop data mapping. It replaces the complex coding with a visual, intuitive approach.
Very visual, very intuitive.
It's like, taking a tangled mess of wires and transforming it into this neatly organized flowchart.
That's a great way to put it.
So imagine you're trying to connect data fields from two different systems, like your CRM and your e-commerce platform.
Right. They probably use completely different naming conventions, data formats, structures. Trying to map those manually would be a nightmare.
Oh, yeah. A total nightmare.
But with the drag and drop, you can see the fields from both systems. Laid out visually.
Right.
And you just drag and drop the corresponding ones onto each other.
Oh, cool.
To create the mapping.
It's so easy.
Easy.
Super easy. It sounds incredibly user-friendly.
It is.
And our sources are saying this ease of use translates into significant time savings.
Oh, absolutely. Huge time savings.
And improved accuracy.
And much better accuracy. Yeah, one study I was reading found that companies using drag-and-drop data mapping saw a 50% reduction in errors.
Wow.
And a 70% reduction in the time it took to create those mappings.
That's huge. So it's like having a built-in spell checker for your data,
right.
Making sure everything's aligned and flowing smoothly.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great analogy.
So our sources also point out this accuracy is crucial for maintaining data integrity.
Absolutely.
And making sure those business decisions are based on reliable information.
Because inaccurate data, it can lead to all sorts of problems. Misinformed marketing campaigns, faulty financial projections, you name it.
Yeah, totally. It's like laying a solid foundation for data-driven decision-making.
Exactly.
Okay, so beyond accuracy, our sources emphasize this importance of flexibility in data mapping.
Right.
So businesses are constantly evolving. Their data needs change. How does drag-and-drop data mapping handle those evolving requirements?
It's really good at that. So with those traditional coding approaches, making changes to the mappings could involve rewriting entire sections of code, which is time-consuming and very prone to errors.
Yeah.
But with drag and drop, you can make those adjustments on the fly.
Okay.
So if you need to add a new field, change a data format, you just drag and drop the elements into the new configuration.
So easy. It's like rearranging furniture in a virtual room to accommodate those new pieces.
I like that.
So this adaptability is essential for businesses to remain agile and responsive to those market changes. But let's talk real world. You got any examples of how businesses are using this drag-and-drop data mapping?
Oh, yeah, tons.
To really streamline their operations?
One that comes to mind is a large e-commerce company that was struggling to integrate their customer data from multiple sources.
Okay.
So they had data coming in from their website, their mobile app, social media platforms, even brick-and-mortar stores.
Wow, that's a lot.
It was a lot. Trying to map all of that manually was just a nightmare.
It sounds like trying to herd a pack of digital cats.
Right. So they implemented a data integration platform that used drag-and-drop data mapping to visually connect all their different data sources.
Okay.
So this allowed them to create this single unified view of their customers.
Right.
Regardless of where the data was coming from.
That's amazing. It's like creating a master key that unlocks insights from all corners of your business.
That's a great way to put it.
What about the impact on the IT team? Did they feel like their skills were becoming, like, obsolete?
No, they were actually really happy with it.
Okay.
It freed them from the tedious tasks of the manual data mapping.
Right.
They could focus on more strategic initiatives, like building data pipelines and developing machine learning models.
That's awesome. It's another great example of how automation can empower rather than replace human workers.
Absolutely. It's about working smarter, not harder.
I like that. Working smarter, not harder. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of automated MFT, what are some key takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember?
I think the most important thing to remember is that automation is not just for, like, tech giants or data scientists.
Okay.
It's for businesses of all sizes, across all industries. Whether you're trying to, improve efficiency, enhance security, ensure compliance, or just gain a better understanding of your data, the advancements we've talked about, workflow automation tools, script-free onboarding, and drag-and-drop data mapping offer really powerful solutions. Yeah, it's about working smarter, not harder. And as technology continues to evolve, I think we can expect even more innovative solutions to come out.
Right, making data management and transfer even more seamless and accessible.
So to all our listeners out there, embrace these advancements. Explore how they can transform your operations.
Yes, absolutely.
The future of data is here.
It is.
And it's automated. Until next time, keep those data streams flowing.